One way to tell if you have posterior pelvic tilt is if you have trouble keeping your pants on, or they're always hanging down here, or you have to wear suspenders like an old man, you're probably having too much of a tuck going on. Now a lot of people think this is because the glutes are weak, and they're like, oh, there's no butt there. The glutes are actually just very, very tight. Glute max, just balled up. A lot of your external rotators, the little muscles that attach from your femur to your sacrum, all of those are super tight and balled up. So they're strong in a certain position. They're strong here, like you're at the top of a deadlift. You're strong there. But they're not strong throughout the rest of the ranges of motion. So with a deadlift, we shouldn't be rounding the back. And that's what happens, is the pelvis wants to stay tucked. So your spine goes into flexion. It doesn't matter if you're working out in the gym, if you're always going into spinal flexion. That's why we care about that tilt. If the pelvis is tucking, you've lost your curve, which means you've lost stability in two big muscles, your QL and your psoas, and of course the little erectors too. Those goes without saying. Those are our big stabilizers as well. They're just really tiny muscles that work together to create a big stabilizing force. We call it posterior chain. The QL muscle, your quadratus lumbars, attaches from this iliac crest to the lumbars and this T12 rib. So it's gonna help hold your pelvis in neutral. If we get overactivating going to anterior pelvic tilt, and maybe we need to do that initially, but mainly we're just trying to stabilize, limit unwanted motion at the lumbar spine while we're using the hip. So this is gonna encourage greater hip mobility and stability if we can get that QL to fire. It's deep, it's below your lats. So we can target this QL muscle simply with an RDL. But before we do any motion, just put your hands here on that pelvis so you can feel what's neutral. And I want you to lift your toes, drive your heels and the balls of your feet. So you're creating all the arches of the feet by driving the heel, the balls of the foot into the ground, so you're pushing the ground away. You're gonna notice that starts to work, this QL muscle in your low back. That's gonna keep this pelvis neutral. You wanna hold on to your pelvis so you can feel it. You can feel if that's tucking like this, with the spine's flexing, or if it's maintaining its neutral position. And I keep pushing the ground away on my way down. I reverse it on the way up. So press, pushing, 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 pushing. We're starting to engage that psoas here. That's the other major stabilizer that attaches to the front. They're both very deep, encasing the spine. Pushing, 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 pushing. Grab onto your kettlebell. Make sure you're really taking your butt and you're lifting it back, but also up. So we want to create tension on the hamstring. Hamstring and glute can work together to bring that pelvis into posterior pelvic tilt. So we want to keep that butt. You can grab yourself right here. This is your sit bone. Ischial tuberosity is where the hamstrings attach. So you want to keep that driving back, but also up towards the ceiling. And that's where the press. You're pushing your feet into the ground. Right there. Even without lifting weight, shaking. The hardest part is going down. Easy coming up if you got strong glutes. They love this position. They hate that. Working eccentrically. Big stretch in the glute hamstring. That's where you should feel it, right there. Using things like our psoas and our QL to stabilize.